Gulliver's Travels is a disturbing account of dislocation and habituation. The narrator's skill with languages and his integrating nature make him susceptible to the values and perspectives of the lands he visits. Even in Lilliput, where he shows his superiority by disdaining to enslave the Bellefondians, he manifests a petty Lilliputian delight when he is awarded the honor of being made a nardac. In Brobdingnag, Gulliver is a source of bewilderment to his captors and displayed as a freak. He faces further humiliation when his account of European society, which he innocently reveals as a rapacious and violent, causes the king to denounce Gulliver's kind as the most pernicious race of little odious vermin that nature ever suffered to crawl upon the surface of the earth. Gulliver manages to narrate this and keep his sense of self relatively intact. Yet, on his return to England, everybody looks tiny. His attitude to his fellow Europeans has become Brobdingnan. The first three voyages chart Gulliver's oscillating sympathy with and resistance to the societies he encounters, as he sees himself or refuses to see himself through alien eyes. It is in his fourth and final voyage that he completely adopts the perspective of his hosts, and his sense of self is devastated. Unlike the other places he has visited, this society is clearly divided between a race of rational horses, the Houyhnhnms, and an enslaved race of Yahoos, animals to which Gulliver instinctively feels a profound antipathy, and which he subsequently discovers with feelings of intense horror. To have a perfect human figure. Despite Gulliver's own ability to speak and to reason, his Houyhnhnm masters see him as a Yahoo, an identification that Gulliver eventually accepts. Under his master's tutelage, Gulliver rejects humankind and is filled with self-loathing, detesting. When I happened to behold the reflection of my own form in a lake or fountain, I turned away from my face in horror and detestation of myself. As I said before in our previous lessons, he always hated his own country, his own people, because of the ruling. Gulliver's Travels does not contain any explicitly Irish subject matter, although it does in the account of Lindaloo in Book 3 offer an allegory of Irish resistance to Wood's halfpence, a passage cut by the first London publisher. Yet it can be argued that Swift's searing account in Book 4 of displacement and degradation owes a great deal to his own direct experience of colonialism. Speaking as the Dublin draper, Swift denounced our neighbors and their strong contempt for most nations, but especially for Ireland. They look upon us as a sort of savage Irish, whom our ancestors conquered several hundred years ago. As an Orthodox Christian, Swift believed that, just pay attention, those sentences, humankind was fallen, but he didn't believe humankind to be immutable. The possibility that the degradation of the Yahoos is at least partly the result of their inhuman treatment by the Houyhnhnm is suggested not only by the destructive effects of Gulliver's sojourn in the land of the rational horses, but also by Swift's Irish writings. Gulliver is taught to despise himself by the Houyhnhnms. Swift was more than capable on occasion of despising the native Catholic population of Ireland, but he would not be thought to despise himself. The draper complained that the English know of Ireland little more than they do of Mexico, further than Further than that, it is a country subject to the King of England, full of bogs, inhabited by wild Irish papists, who are kept in awe by mercenary troops sent from thence. It does not belittle Swift to suggest that some of the force of his ferocious indignation on behalf of the savage Irish came from the suspicion that he was in certain eyes numbered among them. Well, for the time being, that's all what I will tell you about the nature of the Irish novel around the 18th century. We will continue next week with the history of Jack Connor, another author, William Chagnon. So just keep reading those sentences again, and I tell you that you should be prepared for each lesson's video conference as well. Keep yourself and your family at homes as well. Be safe. See you next week.